Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Aspie Answers, or I'm classically known as Aspie. I create videos about mental health and autism, along with tips and advice along the way, with fun and games, as well as journeying with me with autism and mental health, so that you can gain a better understanding about me as an autistic, along with also advocating and educating you all about autism and mental health. If you're into any of this and more that I do, feel free to smash that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner, and if you do so today, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future updates or posts, or even follow me on my socials that is listed below so that you don't miss any future updates that I likely to post there too, to let you guys know. As you know, basically we're at this point basically returning back to the series of the interventions and therapies, and as you know that I have collated it into series step by step for the different types for you guys to follow through, because as we know there are different many types of like interventions and therapies. They can be behavioral, they can be naturalist kind of approach therapy versus just maybe like some that are related for medication use and so on and so forth. So as we know, as a disclaimer, before I begin this, as always, as a disclaimer, I want to put out there to you guys of two parts here. Is one, I am a medical doctor, I am your normal Joe blogs. So if you see anything out of the ordinary from any of the past or present videos that I may have shared through mental health videos, that please do seek professional help for yourself or your loved one, or do seek professional advice for yourself or your loved one, because I don't condone self-harm. And another heads up also, basically just as a disclaimer or what have you, as you know, I'm a New Zealand Kiwi, and at this point of time basically there are limited resources based on some of the topics that may be arising. Here's this example: the treatments, therapies and techniques. So some of the research that I have gathered and collated for myself to actually share with you guys is based on Australian and American research, and I'm hoping like in the near future we'll gain more resources and information for ourselves in New Zealand so that we can gain a better understanding for us all of autistics and outside the autistic community, for maybe parents, caregivers, guardians and the like. So as I said before, many times before, that you know, people may tend to question over and again about the different types of intervention and therapies that are available, and while I am here, I'm hoping to discuss this with you all to gain a clearer understanding. In saying this, that maybe before I begin to open up your comments or questions, to open up as a floorboard of discussion for those of you who are watching today, if you've done any of these treatments, therapies or interventions that I have clearly shared as of in the past and as of now, please be brave enough to comment below your experiences of what it was like, the good and the bad and the ugly. You know, what did you learn from it? What did you not learn from it? What can you do to make yourself better for, you know, for the future, for these interventions that has been introduced, and anything else you would like to share based on your viewpoints on some of these therapies, interventions that I've shared. But as a fair warning also, just to be clear, that if you do decide to comment below in the comment section, please be friendly to one another, because obviously I have understood that there will be some people that may, you know, agree to disagree and disagree to agree on some of the topics I may have shared in the past of these therapies and interventions. But as I said, some of it is just based on my food afterthoughts, and some of it also for the sake of maybe my experiences of what I've been through, of what I've used as a form of therapy or intervention, and so on and so forth. So the next on the list is basically, for this responsive teaching, maybe asking yourself basically, what type is it? Obviously this type of therapy is a developmental therapy. The claim here has been shared that it has improved communication, cognitive and social emotional skills for children to engage more in their everyday life of communicating versus socialization. Research rating: some research has shown positive effects on this, but more research is needed for some of this as well. The responsive teaching claims to help parents of children with autism spectrum disorder develop their children's communication, social, emotional and thinking skills. Some research has suggested that children's learning and development might benefit from this therapy. Next question is, what is responsive teaching? Responsive teaching is a program that teaches parents how to support the development of their children's communication, cognitive, social and emotional skills by using or being more responsive in the way that they interact with their children or even with their peers. The program's developers also refer to responsive teaching as a relationship-focused intervention. This program isn't currently available in Australia and might be offered as part of a service within Australia or in a modified form. What is responsive teaching used for? Responsive teaching is used to improve 3 areas of the child's development. As I said, it's the thinking, communication skills, and social and emotional skills. It aims to improve these by teaching children several pivotal behaviours. Obviously, you may be questioning, where does this responsive teaching come from? Responsive teaching was developed in the US in 2007 as a parenting program for parents of young children with autism spectrum disorder and developmental delay. The idea behind responsive teaching: this program is based on the idea that responsive interactions between children and parents are an essential basis for development. What does responsive teaching involve? Parents and children may spend 1 hour a week with their therapist trained in this form of approach, either at a centre or at home. The sessions train parents in specific techniques such as, example, taking turns when interacting with one another, be it if it's like in the classic example if a child is trying to learn to communicate. 2, matching what they do with their children's developmental levels, so therefore obviously it will mean that with their emotional and psychological development of the brain, what the level of comprehension maybe they can understand of a form of instruction. 3, being warm and expressive when interacting with children is the last one. These techniques aim to improve children's use of pivotal behaviours and supports children's development and learning. The therapists and parents also develop family action plans which are made up of responsive teaching strategies and other activities that they can do at home. The cost considered: responsive teaching isn't offered in Australia, as I clearly mentioned earlier, so no information about the cost is available, but I'm sure that there is some cost involved in America where it most likely to be. So if any of you that are watching are American and do this sort of therapy intervention, please let me know basically, you know, what steps to go for this kind of intervention, as well as maybe, you know, these other treatments and interventions I've mentioned before. Does responsive teaching work is another question that might be wiggling in our mind. Some research has shown positive effects on children's learning and development from this therapy, but more high quality studies are needed, as I shared. Who practices responsive teaching? Professionals can become certified responsive teaching providers by completing training through Responsive Training International Outreach in the United States. Parent education training support and involvement. As we know, initially parents is a must to complete a 2-day workshop called Getting Started with Responsive Teaching. Parents deliver responsive teaching with the support of a trained professional, so involvement is high. How can you find a practitioner? Responsive teaching is currently available only in the United States and Canada. So if you're interested in therapies that are similar to responsive teaching, you could talk with your GP or one of the other professionals that may be working with your child. You could also talk with your NDIA planner, NDIS early childhood partner, or NDIS local area coordination partner if you have one. There are many treatments for autism spectrum disorders, as I mentioned. They range from those based on behavioural and developmental to those based on medicine or alternative therapy. Basically, this video guide I was hoping to aim for, it will share the different types of interventions for children with ASD, taking you through the main treatments so you can gain a better understanding for your child's options available. So this quickly ends a real short brief video guide about responsive teaching for autistic children. Smash the like if you like this, comment below, as I said in the questions that I asked you earlier, for those who have been into this sort of situation, your good, bad and the ugly of it, what did you learn from it, the steps maybe to get through to doing this, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching, do what you love what you do. Until next time, I'll see you all again soon. Ciao for now.